Hands down, the biggest news story of 2016 here in Canada were the wildfires that hit Fort McMurray, Alberta on May 1st. By May 3rd, the fires swept through much of the community, destroying approximately 2,400 homes and leaving 88,000 people homeless as the town was evacuated. It took months before many of the residents could return to their homes or what used to be their home. Among the thousands of residents were my guests today, the Jackson family, Kris and Susan, and their sons Luke and Tim, who are not here today, but welcome both of you. I am so excited to meet the two of you. I've already cried. We've cried together in the green room. Take us back to May and what that was like, Kris.
It was 7 months ago now, I guess. And you never think that this is going to happen. You know, I woke up May 3rd. Susan and Luke were already down in Edmonton. They were visiting her sister. And I woke up for work, a normal day. The sky was blue, the birds were singing, there was no smoke, there was no wind. And I went to work, and then by 6 hours later, the wind conditions had changed, the fire changed, it was heading towards our neighborhood. You follow reports on the news, social media, it was just started to become a mass evacuation. And there was no one at home, so we were just basically helpless watching this unfold, and knowing that the fire was heading towards our house and our neighborhood.
And Susan, you said that God actually warned you. Tell me about this.
Exactly, well, a year prior, he warned me and told me that we'd be on a journey of a moving home, going from stop to stop, and that he would we would be resting in him and standing on the rock of his foundation and washing in his word, and that he would be supplying all our needs through it. And then the week prior to the fire, exactly Tuesday to Tuesday, he gave me a dream that the land was going to be set on fire and all our possessions were going to be taken. And I had went through the house to tell everybody and get everybody out, but I couldn't make it to Luke in time. So I went to the prayer closet and put the prayer shawl over me and held the strings on the ends of Jehovah, the power of God's name, and prayed for Luke and for a covering for all of us. And when I woke, I realized Luke, there was no ending. Like Luke never, was with me. So I started praying for a different outcome. So I asked God to prompt me whenever this is going to take place, when this is finally going to happen, to tell me to leave. So Monday morning, he said, now is the time.
Wow.
So 7 different people had called and talked to me, and they're like, you're not going to leave, because we had just came home the night before from traveling and bright and early, and I'm like, I got angry by the time the 7th birthday, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. God told me to go away from the fire.
And you don't even know that there are wildfires about to encroach on your community. You know nothing. You just know that you are following God's word. You're following his voice. Wow.
So that Luke and I could be together.
Right.
So, because Luke had fallen in a fire 2 years prior.
Wow.
So, and I didn't want him to have to go through being separated with us. And we went through so many miscarriages that, us being without Luke wouldn't be, an idea either. So, God wanted us together so that both of us would be able to deal with it and go through it, because Kris and Tim were left to be in the fire, it worked. So, yeah.
So that's why you were in Edmonton with your sister, because you were obedient to God's voice. So Kris, you're now seeing this happen. Do you evacuate with Tim? What happens?
So I was, luckily, I was up farther north at the work camp, or the oil sands site that I work at. Tim was working at the airport, so we were separated. He was south of the fires, I was north of the fires. He ended up going home, or driving down to Edmonton to be with Susan and Luke.
Yeah.
I stayed behind because we were isolated from the community until, I guess, 2 days later, and then we got flown out. WestJet, that's when they stepped up to the plate already. They were flying people out from the work camps, and they were all hands on deck. So luckily we're part of that evacuation process.
And as you see all of this happening around you, what's happening to your faith inside? Because you don't know if you're going to return to a home. You don't know what you're going to return to. You don't know if you're ever going to be allowed back into Fort Mac.
Okay.
What's going on inside? Are you asking why? Are you...
No.
Never.
Like I said, I had many dreams the year before. And one of them, God had specifically told us that our home we weren't going to have anything, like nothing. And he's told me to start giving away like my possessions already. So he said, because one day it won't be here. He said, so when it's not, he said, will you still have faith in me? Will you still trust me and follow me? Will you believe that I will provide and supply all your needs? And I said, yes, God. So when the time happened that it was all taken, it wasn't a determining factor of whether or not I trust or serve or believe in God. He was still the same yesterday, today, and forever. He's still clothing us, just like the lilies of the valley, and he's still supplying us, with all our needs, just like the birds of the air. He's still feeding us, and we have not been without.
One thing I can add is that through the whole thing, our faith and trust in him is increased tenfold. I mean, just to see him work in so many miraculous ways, just one after another, and there's so many wonderful stories that come out from the whole experience, not just from us, but other people involved too. But it says that we don't know what the plans he has for us, but he says that he's going to let us prosper and be rich. And I mean, that's where we're going right now, and our faith is there, and as Susan said, we haven't missed a beat.
Wow, I should have brought Kleenex. When you returned to Fort Mac, did you know that your house was gone? You did already.
Yeah.
What was that like when you actually saw it? And you didn't have insurance.
No, we didn't have insurance.
So it's gone.
So everything's gone.
Yeah.
All our, just the house, the home, the memories. It was our home for almost 40 years. So there was a lot of memories, a lot of belongings there. People say it's just stuff. And yeah, things can be things, but when we have memories and attached to it, things from my family and my mom and all that, it's a little bit hard.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, it was tough to swallow when you see that. And knowing our community for 40 years, and it was drastically changed visually with the burned out structures and the neighborhood's gone, and the neighborhood I grew up in. It was tough to see, but again, relying on the faith of God, he's going to see us through. It's very easy to be angry and be upset and ask those questions, but there's nothing we can do about that. We're looking forward to the future. We're being positive and being strong for everybody else, because we're not the only ones in this situation.
Yeah.
There's so many other people. There's over 2,300 people that lost their homes.
Yeah. And you're saying this, well, right now, when you go back home, you're staying with friends in their basement. That is your home for now.
Yeah.
With plans to build again, but I marveled by you, because I think many of us could lose our stuff and we would ask God why. And that you are still looking because you know that God protected you, you know that God warned you, and you still rely on that. That's huge. How do you communicate that to maybe your neighbors who are very angry about this? And justly so. I mean, they've lost everything.
I think it's a perfect time to share our testimony and our faith, because people look to you and they say this, how are you so strong?
Yeah.
And how are you so happy with what just happened, even though with our situation? I said, you know what? God's looking after us. He's provided everything, our food, our clothes, where we're staying right now, and he knows our next step. He knows what's going to happen. And he's provided so much already that if you can't see that God's hand is in this, someone's got to be blind, right? And it's really opened up a lot of eyes for a lot of people that they can see that. And I think we've given them a lot of faith and a lot of hope.
Yeah. As we talk about provision, WestJet is one of those companies that God has used. I want you to tell me about this beautiful needlepoint, because this was given to you by an actual WestJetter, somebody who actually works, where am I pointing to here? By one of the people that work for WestJet, and they heard your story, Susan. Tell me about this.
So we were taken and watched a video of Sue, a WestJet member who seen our video and spoke to us about
Heard your story.
Yeah, heard our story and how it touched her and impacted her, and how this was something that got her through a hard time of losing her father after 41 years, and that this prayer helped her through many times, and they read it daily, and she wanted to give this to us, to bless us, and
Because you had talked about losing your space, and you love to minister to people and bring people into your home, and that was something that really hurt you, is losing that space,
Yes.
if anything.
That's right, the most.
Right, and so she thought that this would be a great addition to your new space one
Yes.
day when God blesses you
That's
with
right.
that.
Yeah, the hardest thing was right after the fire. I just, all these people are hurting, and I just wanted to nurture them. I wanted to love on them and just show them compassion, because there were so many that was broken and in so much pain and just had lost hope. And my hardest thing, because I was staying at my sister's in the very beginning, and I wanted to take these strangers in and everything, and
just love on them.
And love on them, and I knew I couldn't do that. And I mean, she was newly pregnant and everything too, so it wasn't realistic. And then coming into the place that we have, this small place that we have, it's not feasible either to be taking too many, where I like big crowds too, so you know.
And then WestJet has this Christmas soiree for the whole community, and these beautiful ornaments, which will be on your future tree, were provided. So they took your picture, I don't know if we can get that, took your picture and put it in this beautiful ornament. And as we saw in the video, all of these parachutes fall from the sky with a ticket to anywhere you want to go, and this beautiful ornament. I want to show you at home what WestJet says about why they decided to bless the families of Fort McMurray. Check this out.
WestJet has been here since day one. We're so involved in the community and are so proud to be. And this is an opportunity for us to really just say, we know Christmas is coming and it's going to be hard, and we just want to really celebrate and bring the community together.
Christmas is so important to our WestJetters because it's really part of their culture. They love the idea of taking a group of people over the holidays and just creating an amazing experience for them. And I was on a flight in September, and that's really when we decided to choose Fort McMurray, because the flight attendant said to me, no matter what you do this year, make us proud. And so we thought by coming up here and helping out the residents, that would make WestJetters proud. And that's such a driving force in what we do. We spoke to so many families up here in Fort McMurray, and we learned about their experiences back in May when the fire struck, but also what it's been like since that time.
We never really thought we were going to lose our house. I don't really ever think we thought our home was in danger until it was gone.
But seeing some of the reports and some of the aerial footages, knowing that our house was gone, the neighborhood was gone, it just leaves you with a numb feeling, thinking that how could this happen? It was just surreal.
The theme that kept reoccurring is that it's really difficult, that 6 months later there's still a lot that needs to be done, and everyone's still feeling the impact of the fire.
I think it would just be nice just to celebrate where we're at and how far we've come.
How beautiful is that they saw that there was a need, and they want, and I've heard from WestJet as well that it's their employees that have really driven a lot of these miracle Christmas series that they've had. What was that like on that night being there?
It was phenomenal. Like, I don't know, it's a magical night, the whole experience. There's so many happy faces and smiles, and with people we hadn't seen for 6 months after the neighborhood was kind of dispersed. So bringing all those people back together, and just people forgot what we went through, and just having fun, and just, you know, that Christmas miracle, projecting hope, and just looking forward to the future.
Well, when we heard your story, we heard about Tim and how Tim really missed the fact that he had lost so many of his books and his book collection. So he reached out to Indigo, and I'm going to start crying. And they decided to bless you guys. So there is a $150 gift card there for Tim. And there's a $150 gift card for Luke as well, so he can start his book collection. He's 7 years old, so he has a long way to go.
Nice.
As well as some great home things, so that in your new home, you will just feel loved.
That's all we've been feeling all the way along, is feeling loved. So it's amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
like WestJet, they showed just so much love and compassion, you know, and that's just the outpour of God, you know, His love.
And I think that's what amazes me about, you know, when we all go through hard times, that's when community just rises to the occasion. You know, you told stories, Susan, you were telling me in the green room about how the community has just risen to the occasion and blessed Luke. Tell us about that.
Oh yes, the So we had already been being blessed, and Luke was wondering about himself because he wasn't allowed to purchase or get anything. So one night we asked him, well, what is it that you're missing the most, you know? And we said, well, pray to God about it, you know, like tell God your heart. So he's like, God, I miss dirt biking, you know, I miss the most, I miss getting out and riding because he used to race and stuff. So he prayed that God would provide a means for him to still ride. And the very next day, Kris got a text from an anonymous source that with a name and number. When we contacted we set up an appointment, and we had no idea where we were going or what was happening. And then they asked, do you know why you're here? We're like, no, like nothing. And they had purchased him a brand new dirt bike.
Wow.
Racing dirt bike.
Wow.
And yeah, blew us away, the generosity. And yeah, so Luke was racing all summer where he wouldn't have been at all.
Wow.
So, and riding, yeah.
Kris, what does that do to you when you see how, again, provision after provision? You've been blessed with a trip as well. WestJet's provided flights for you.
It just reaffirms that God's hand is in this all the way, right? Yeah. And it just strengthens your faith, and it's heartwarming. It's overwhelming. Yeah. Right? It's been a struggle it's a humbling experience the last 7 months, going from where we were, and you know it's challenging. We're trying to find a new normal, and normal is not going to be normal again. So. But yeah, the compassion, generosity of Canadians, of people all over the place, have just been outstanding.
This Christmas, as the Jackson family gathers around, what are you going to be grateful for and thankful for? What are you going to be thanking Jesus for?
For his son. I think that the most, because we couldn't do any of this, we wouldn't even be here without them creating us in the first place. And just that we are together and we are alive, and we know that he's going to completely take care of us. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
And I hope that the Jackson family talks about, I hope you know that hope. I hope you know that Jesus that they talk about. If you don't, we would love to pray with you right now, today. Please call our prayer lines, talk to our prayer partners, journey with them. They will journey with you as you pray and accept Jesus into your heart. Thank you for joining us today. I told you it was going to be a good story. We'll see you later. Bye.